Good afternoon, everyone. Today we've got a double. Unfortunately, I'm not with you. Got some things, family things that have come up I need to be at home for, so I'm just leaving a lesson with you. Please work through this and go on to the exercise, which is at the end of this video and on the OneNote. So we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to think about GST, which is called a Goods and Services Tax. It's the tax that we use in Australia. It's added on to most items we buy and services we purchase. So goods are things like, food that you might buy in the supermarket, a packet of chips, a pair of shoes you go and buy, a TV you might get, for your room, whatever. And then services, of course, if you hire a builder or you want a gardener to come and do something, or you have someone to do anything particularly that you need done, that you will have to pay GST on top of that, except for a few rare cases you don't. But most times we pay GST. In other countries, it can be called VAT, V-A-T, value added tax. And basically, it's the same way. In Australia, we're 10%. In many other countries, it's more than that. Some countries, it's less than that. It just depends. And so we're going to do some calculations around it. And with 10%, it's quite easy, actually. We need to kind of work through that. So the first couple of questions I'm going to do is just add the 10% GST. So when we have questions like this, you have a non-GST price of $43. So we find 10% and then we add it on. So to find 10%, we do find 10%. By this stage with percentages, you should be familiar. 10 over 100 times 43. And that's going to give us $4.30. That's the GST on it, $4.30 of GST. So basically what happens is the shop charges you that amount extra, and then they have to pay that to the government as tax, which is helpful for things that we might need. And so then the total price with GST is equal to the $43 that the shop charges plus the $4.30 that they need to pay as GST, which is going to be $47.30. All right, not too difficult. So if you have a price without GST and you're asked to find the total price, you work out 10% and then you add it on. Let's think about this TV, $2,300 television. Again, we work out 10%. 2,300. Well, that's going to just actually drop a zero is what it ends up being, $230. So we do $2,300 plus $230, which is equal to $2,530 total with GST included. Okay, last pair, $123 pair of shoes, which I think nowadays is getting to be a bit cheap, isn't it? Shoes cost them? No, it's probably not. But anyway, so you do 10%. Now, by now, you might work out that, let's just write it here, 10 over 100 is actually equal to 1 on 10. Right, which is also equal to 0.1. So you can use any of those. I'll just put that in a red box. So we want to keep things as simple as possible. So you might just do 1 on 10 times 123, which is equal to that's not true. 12.3. $12.30 is GST. And so the total price equals 123 plus 12.30. which is equal to $135.30. All right, and that's the total, including, and you might see this sometime, GST. There we go. Okay, now I want to change direction a little bit, and to keep this thing short, I'm moving through. We want to calculate the price of these items before 10% GST was added. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So if a jacket, so basically this is $132 including GST. Now the question is, what is the price? What is the cost before GST? Now, there are cases when you do that. If you're certain types of organizations, charities, a few others, you can get GST paid back. Sometimes if you're a tourist in a country, you can, when you end up flying out, you can get like the VAT or the GST paid back to you. So you might be interested to know the price. And so what we need to know is that what we did, like in the unitary method, this is very similar. So the first thing I need to say is the following. $132, all right, is the full price, 100%, plus 10%. So we think about it like this. $132 is 110% of the cost, all right, because we've added on 10%. My one got a bit weird there. 110% of the cost. So what we need to do is divide by 110 and then times by 100. Now there is a shorter way to do it, which this just works for GST. So for GST calculations, we divide by 11, then multiply by 10 is how we do it, which is essentially like the unitary method where you're dividing by 110, you find what 1% is, and then you multiply by 100. Instead of doing it with 110 and 100, we just drop off a 0. You divide by 11 and then you multiply by 10. So I'm going to do it with this one. So we do $132 divided by 11. And that gives us, it's going to be 12. It's going to be $12. Oh, $12. And then we take the $12 and we multiply it by 10, which gives us $120. Now you notice that 10% of 120 is 12. Add 12 on and you get back to 132. So that's correct. Tick. We can think about that as being correct. So the rule of thumb, as they like to call it, you divide by 11 and then you multiply by 10. And the reason is because $132 is 110%. Okay, let's try another one. Larger numbers, same principle. Computer is a cost of $2,244. All right, but I'm going to put here, this is 110% because 10% GST is added on. So we want to know, well, what's the price without GST? And so we do the following. 2244 divided by 11, and that's going to be equal to, and I think it is, well, let's use our calculators, shall we? Because I'm going to mess this up. 204. That's 204 points. So basically what that's saying is $204 is 10%, right? So then we take a 204, we multiply it by 10. That's the second step. And you get 2,040. All right, so 2,040, and I'll put it in brackets. This is the price without GST. All right, this is the price without GST. That's what we have. So 2244 is with GST. And if I divide by 11 times by 10, I get the price without GST. You can't just take off 10%. It doesn't work like that. We have to do this the unitary method. I know what 110% is, so I get back to 100%. Okay, so let's try this. I'd like you to do exercise 7G, question 1 to 5. That's the first thing. This is number 1. Number 2 is, once you've completed the exercise, work on investigation 4, and I will tell you what page it is in a moment, because I know you always ask me that. So I'm going to write it in so you can see what it is. I think it's page, I don't know, I'll work it out in a second. So we'll find that out, and I'll put that in so you can check when you read the OneNote what the pages are for this. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.